Hey, now, we're not doing this to embarrass anyone. We believe that it's a good way to learn. Y'all be quiet.
Yeah. I was gonna say ring ling ling. Yes, I like to report trouble on my phone. 867-3379. Sorry. I can't hear.
When did you start having this?
Well, it just happens in the morning. It doesn't happen all the time.
You only want to talk to this.
I lease it.
Sorry, since you're having trouble, we'll try to have a scope.
Thank you.
Now, let's keep in mind that there are 4 of our service centers that have no knowledge of SLIC yet. They haven't used the terminal to call up these customer records, and they do not understand the format of those records.
I don't know. Now, I guess. I don't know if you're supposed to put it in there. Is she supposed to put the time in there?
The commitment time will be 24 hours from the time, that's why we're the exact time.
Y'all are not putting anything about the commitment time for trouble on the SLIC record.
It's on
Was that the
the
question? Be on the ticket, on the trouble ticket.
We're not in
Okay, Thelma, what information would you put on the trouble ticket from this customer? Just go ahead and do it. Now, go hold on to the trouble ticket that you filled out earlier, because your tester's going to have to test that tomorrow, and then the dispatcher's going to have to dispatch it. So hold on to these
No,
trouble
it's not
tickets.
leased.
I will tell you, put the trouble on it, she can't hear. And she just leaves it from us. Number. You mean the basis of what was on top? Okay, the number. The party, for the school party, one party. The line finder. And the commitment time. If it is a loose end of the cable pair, the terminal.
Okay? Go ahead and put the information that you would put on the ticket, because we're going to use these tickets further in these exercises. Did you hear the information that Thelma said she's going to put on the ticket? Now, again, you as testers, you're going to be the next person to get that, right? Is she giving you enough information?
It's put the carrier system channel on there. I couldn't
DC-8 system. It's carrier system 6, distributive channel number 7.
So they're not gonna spend, the tester's not gonna spend too much time with that fixing anyway.
You don't test carrier?
Just call it and see what you get. Once you get a disc or
Jerry's
something,
holding
you
that
have
disc in.
evidence here. That's the fact. You get either a ring no ring, or you get this. You can tell me that.
What was the trouble report?
Can't hear.
Can't hear.
Pardon?
Who they would call it, who they call the same
Yeah,
person.
Yeah, you testers are not testing carrier?
I do.
Huh?
Can't get through, Jim.
Well, I realize that you can't get through a channel carrier and see AC and DC faults on that drop. But do you ever try to go through the ATM test? You ain't even talk to the customer? Absolutely. That's one of the reasons we had MCS to go back to the drawing board on this test system. We said, hey, you're only giving us hand testing. Don't you think that just because it's carrier that you can't test it? The only thing that you can't do is check for a DC short, grounds, crosses, or battery. Remember what Ron went through? He said that on pair game, loops, it should always perform ATM tests.
Was it asked? It was only on one phone.
Is this,
I don't know if that's being carried, but if a carrier car usually is working, it says Volvo, and Infinity, they, car that got lines for it, you know, short of it, there's something out there, making that like a carrier car, whole dollar.
You know that you can test a carrier circuit and tell if there's a short or a receiver off the hook, that something has that field channel unit transmitting the office.
Carrier circuit's in the high position control. Infinity, Volvo,
That's good. I appreciate that.
carrier circuit, something off of, going even, it's going more, the oil, we show the flash short, we going on. We go ahead and lock.
A channel carrier, if there's trouble on the drop side, if the field channel unit is transmitting to the office, you'll see from 1,000 to 1,200 on the short on that loop. If you don't believe it, try it. So just because it's carrier, in fact, you can make most all the tests on the carrier that you can make on this loop. You just can't see the results, test results this way. Is anyone else?
the only thing we know is that they just can't call out, is that it?
You
call in.
can't hear.
Can't hear. Do we know if they can hear, if it's on all call, if it's just on long distance local, or if it's on all phone, or just one phone?
It's on both local and long distance.
I believe the decision tree would answer those.
But it'll make a difference, at least repair them I sent out there. Whether I will send them.
Certainly not being critical of that, but I think the first answer that was given to her should have been a key to her that I probably really should have questioned is because she told us that, I think she told us, it only happens part of the time, if I remember right.
Yeah,
In the
just
morning-
in the morning.
In the morning, that's a cloud, I just click a bell, say, oh,
I'll delve into this a little bit. Ask her some of the questions, Dave, Dave, local or long distance, that happen all the time. I think, we have some answers.
If you don't ask the coordinator, you have to ask him.
Another thing that'll still help us, even if we designate it, or even if we get it down to the person who says it's long distance, we need to know if it's outgoing, incoming. And if it is outgoing, we need to know if it's 1 plus or 0 plus. We've got a lot of repair time now.
One thing I was gonna say was that it sounds like eggs are frying, and then we could have seen that it was really static was the problem.
Dollars.
I'm glad you're in that chair.
Any other time we've asked these questions, when I am a repair guy.
Those are two hot spots.
Yes, I see.
We're not ready. We're not ready. We don't intend to be critical. Does anyone else have anything on this report?
Is it noise? On that same property?
Hey,
Being is noise.
reported noise, the last transmission reading that we took for that loop setting.
Where's those fine people, Kenny? Yeah.
And had 2 trouble reports in the last 90 days. Depressed key.
How come we turned in that way last time?
I'm glad you've done this.
Nobody else has had any
Yeah, they're all
What in the world we have here?
Blue rigs. Got a noise problem. Should be able to dog on a period.
Look like we have a 5-party line. And then it look like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that the physical? You think, the channel?
So you're gonna have to go over your system, channel. I go back to Channel 2, wasn't it?
Channel D, yeah.
Channel 2. That's what you pulled it up by. You got 5 working on it. We're already growing.
Let me tell you what we have noted, just scanning through the slick record and the river operation. We noted that you're not keeping your records in good current condition. You should take a closer look. Apparently, you're having some outward activities, and you're not marking the records as left in or free or whatever the status might be. There's a lot of purging, a lot of correcting that needs to be done in your records. You know, just because we have a mechanized database now, the system's not going to keep them correct for you. You must keep them correct. You must make the additions and the deletions. You must make the changes. I was just trying to see in that system of Carrier that there were other channels that had noise problems. And it looks like there is one. That's all I was trying to do. Have anything else for this team?
Jim,
Yes.
I did ask a question, and I didn't know the answer, but I will find out. When we file, loop readings, and we're on Carrier system, when we make a loop reading on a Carrier system, how is it filed in Slick? Is it by drop sign or is it by physical sign?
214D. Y'all talk up this best you can.
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Hello, hello.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Altel Trouble Desk. May I help you, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to report some problems with my phone, I think.
Okay, sir. May I have your telephone number, including your area code, please?
501-867-4259.
4259?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Just a moment, please. Okay, is this listed in the name of Jackie Finley?
Yes, ma'am.
What may I ask the problem is that you're talking about?
Well, I got this big old black line down in my yard.
Well, sir, is it totally disconnected from the house?
Yes, laying out there in the yard, just scratched out.
What happened?
I don't know. I just come in a while ago and there it was.
Okay, then the line is just down in the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll turn the report in to our repairman, and they'll get to it as soon as possible. This
Oh.
is given priority. You are completely out of service, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we'll sure turn this in, and we'll try to get to it within 24 hours.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Did you note something that she stated that we haven't heard any of the repair clerk's previous state or extra question? Everybody You know, there's something real personal about calling a person by their name. If she would have said, "Is this Mr. Penley?" and then addressed him as Mr. Penley from that point on, that really has an effect. Just go ahead and complete your ticket as to what you would have. Okay, if you would just tell us what all you put on the ticket, Judge White.
Okay, I coded it as completely out of service. I do not have my code other than 25 is out of service, code 1. I entered my class of service, explained at the top that the line is down on the ground in the yard. My 1FR is inside, my originating equipment, my cable, my pair, my line, and my terminal. Oh, 1R, excuse me.
She did a wonderful job. One of his lines in the driveway,
I'd like to know if it's laying across the road, driveway,
is it across the road?
get across, something where somebody can get their right to get it. I know it's across the yard, but I still want to know if it's laying in the street.
24 hours.
She said, well, as soon as possible.
How he's talking to her, what
I guess the point being, a line down, does that have any essence of priority?
You bet.
Is that service?
Is there any other consideration other than it's out of service?
It might be a hazard,
Safety.
safety, people going through there or traffic or something, we want to get it up as soon as possible. That's why I want to know if it's, even though they say it's down the yard, it could be a line that's pulled across the lane, through the yard, across the road.
It also may lay on the tire. Could be laying across the tire.
It could be a temporary situation where they lay a drop on the ground and get the ferry crew out there and get the line. I hate to say that happened. If he had service and all this appeared on the ground, I wouldn't think so.
The connection that you could find it.
Is there any, can you think of anything else that we should have gleaned from the customer?
Might be more than one phone out right there close to it, so maybe, usually the person outside doesn't know the telephone line carries, maybe just his phone or, quick, so it may not be just a problem. Not asking if anybody else is out, but there was two.
That's the thought that we had when we designed this thing. That could be a 200 hair cable. You might assume it's a drop, but it could be 200 hair cable.
Phone go.
If it is preliminary, you just had one report on it, you're very fortunate.
First, it's always that way, isn't it? First report,
First,
always.
always a little bit. Well, maybe when we test it, we'll get an indication on the phone.
I doubt it.
Now you don't know our business.
Anything else for this team?
Where's my idea for you?
I know she says that I don't get forward to it. Say, we'll take care of it. How is it, huh? What is it? We'll take care of it. She's used to it, okay.
There's an hour off right there.
Remember, we're a team. And how we handle this trouble report until that ticket is closed is a lot going to depend upon the information that we get right here in this initial conference.
I can get the video, I know she's very stuff here, but I'll mention every day like that she can go ahead while she's punching it up, and she checks it, doesn't do that. You know, she can tell us, well, how that happened, that she didn't really expect him to know, but it was just a friendly little, innuendo there.
Yeah, you know, sitting up here, these are hot seats, you can't think of you can't think of all those things that you might back home.
You have a lot of reaction from the cousins when they're out of service. Your slaves will go down to repairs within 24 hours.
Well,
Like, that's just
okay, it seems like I notice customers, whenever they're out of service, you know, they want it right now. Now, will I have this today, you know? Well, I try to reassure them that we give out of service top priority. And by rules, we are to have this done by 24 hours, ma'am, or sir. And that's what I generally say, but I'll try to remember the customer's name. And that sort of soothes them whenever I try to reassure them that this is top priority in our business.
we're still giving the time.
That's new to me, but
Any inquiries about how much higher would it even be if it's 24 hours? Any problem with that?
I don't recall it. The other girls that are more experienced might remember something.
Let's give them a big hand. It works. Wow.
Talk to it from there.
Good afternoon, October Fair, may I help you?
Yes, I'd like to report my phone being broken.
What is your phone number, ma'am?
The number is 867-4205.
4205?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said your home is broken and the set is broken?
Yes, it is. I dropped it.
You dropped it. Okay. Do you own your own phone?
I don't know. It's a phone I've had all the time. I don't know who owns it. I really like a new phone, though. It's old, it looks bad, and I just like to bring me a new one.
Okay. It does show that you do own your own phone.
Then your record just must be wrong. You told me I own my phone. I know.
I have worked here 1 month. We do show that you do own your own phone, ma'am. I will check into it and make sure that it is your phone.
Okay, well, I just don't want to be down on it. I don't know, maybe it isn't broken, maybe it's just the line.
Okay, I will make a report on it. We'll have our repairman check it out.
Okay, now I'm not going to be home
When would be a good time that you could?
after 5.
Okay. I'll put it at the top of the ticket then, that you will be home after 5.
Okay. Or you could put the door will be open. Will you go in and work on my phone?
No, our men are not allowed to go in unless somebody is there with them.
Okay, so I'll be at home after 5.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I put the telephone number. I put the telephone number, the problem was a broken set, and I put the name Union Hill Church, which evidently she isn't. I put the date and the time, and the reporting code, and I put the class of service, the originating equipment, the cable, the pair. Normally I put the map in the house if there's the map in the house on there, but there wasn't. Okay. Then I put the route in the terminal, which there was only a route on that one. And I did list CPE, which I should have asked her. If it were her phone, I would have normally asked her, or told her that we would send a repairman out if she would want us to. But if it was her equipment and the problem was in her equipment, then there would be a repair visit charge. And normally if you tell them that and it is their equipment, then they usually change their mind and say, oh, well, I'll work something else out or whatever. But anyway, that's what I put on it.
Comments from anyone?
After 5.
She puts our results. They're easy to overturn.
It's broken.
Did you say you'd fix it after 5?
I told her that we would try to send the report out, that I would put it.
I've been mad at her. I got the report now. I mean, doesn't work. There's two things on there that I really would have been upset with. Number one was that the customer was told it'd be after 5. I'm gonna get chewed out when I said repair out there at 5. So I explained this thing right why you weren't over there. The other one was that I'd like to have on there that the customer did admit they dropped the phone. Because if it is theirs or ours, or whichever, then we can prove. They said they did, and we can charge them.
Well, normally I would put that on. I'm nervous, I don't even want to.
You don't charge them as customers, also as a lease company.
No, but it's CPE up there. We go up there and find out that it is, why we're gonna charge them. If it's one of our lease phones or something, well, that's different somewhere. But since it's their equipment, I'd like to try to talk that customer to bring that phone in since it's dropped.
Any other comments?
If it's one of ours, they're involved. Let's say,
This is done on the go along, and the CPE on the slick screen only tells you that they own at least one phone. They might lease two and own one, and the CPE will be there. So it's still important to ask, and if the customer, says, no, I know I leased this one, then you've got to do SEDSP for the, on the decrease side. The CPE only tells you that they own one phone at least, but it doesn't tell you that they own all their phones.
Thank you. Group Team G, person that's going to be reporting trouble needs to come up. And the repair clerk for Group Team H. Y'all stand up to the mic so we can hear this time. Talk into the mic so everyone can hear. When you need to call up information on the slick, well, just step over. Otherwise, when you talk, you will talk into the mic.
Good afternoon, this is Repair. I'm Jewel, may I help you?
Yes, Jewel, I am thoroughly disgusted. My phone cuts off and on.
Oh, all right, may I have your phone number, please?
My telephone number is 501-867-4222. I want to talk to the supervisor. I don't want to talk to you.
Where's Cody?
Have you been having this trouble for very long, ma'am? Or is this just recent?
It just cuts off on every one of my phone calls. I don't receive half my phone calls.
Is it only recently been happening, ma'am?
I have reported this phone and reported this phone.
Okay, so it's just not today, just probably from within the last week or week and a half, or?
The last 6 months.
Pardon me, just a second.
Ma'am, I want to talk to the supervisor, and I demand to talk to the supervisor.
Okay. I'll stop right here. In a case like this, I would get my plant supervisor on the line.
Okay, get her up here.
Just a moment, ma'am, I'll see if I can get someone to help you.
This is Cody Ashcraft. May I help you?
Yes, ma'am, I am very disgusted with your telephone service. My phone has been cutting off and on for the past 6 months, and I have reported it and reported it and reported it.
Do you own your phone or are you leasing it?
Well, I own one of my phones and I'm leasing the other phone.
Which phone is cutting off?
Well, it's your phone that's cutting off.
Is your phone working all right?
My phone's working fine.
Okay, you have you exchanged phones, moved them from one jack to another?
No.
Well, you might need to try that.
Okay.
Would you try that? And if your customer provided phone works in the one that's cutting off, now, or if you have any more trouble, you let me know. Or would you try and let me call you?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll call you right back.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I've called you. Hello? And you changed your phone. You changed your phone. You're in a bad chat. Can you hear me? Do you hear me? If you can hear me, we'll dispatch somebody out right away.
And in the meantime, I'll try and get the right number up here. Is it still? What was?
867422.
Okay, I'm sorry, I totally misunderstood the number.
8674.
There you go, got her now.
That little girl recorded did a great job.
It was 71, no wonder.
Yes, she did.
Oh, got another good old cable line.
Okay, Jewel, tell us what you put on your ticket.
Okay, I did put her report that she gets cut off, and it's been happening for the last 6 months. I do have her name, Charles Blackburn, and it's 4 party outside the base rate, and I have the reporting code. I did not give her a commitment time, but so did my supervisor talk to her. I've got a ring cycle, terminal route, cable pair, and punch block. And she does own her own equipment. One of her own, and one she's leasing.
I failed to tell her I was sorry she couldn't experience the difficulty. She was a little high,
Yes, she was.
Probably a big portion of them you get that way, aren't they?
Because in our area, we have a rural area with several supervisors, and, the supervisors come in at different intervals, during the day. And if it's right in the voice box, we may be able to check it right in, but also maybe a 90 technical trouble.
I don't even consider that a trouble to me. And I would have gotten the information, but not put an iron trouble to instead of the person that I wanted to be involved in. But when I was told that I would have the plant foreman come look over the situation, is there a number that he could reach him at so that they could get to me?
Well, see, we have to put in marks. Ordinarily, back home, every certificate that we take, we put it, chalk the report, the time of day, but we weren't told that at the beginning. It's not in the marks. Like if there's a double dispatch, not unless we go back on those tickets that's already been taken.
I see what you're saying. When you put a remark here, it's only memo on this customer record, this moment. It doesn't memo to the other people on that same line. Maybe it should, I don't know.
Well, that's where the old line comparison, the way we do, when you always roll that, right, your four-party line is on there. You look for that each time, and if you top your ticket, you'll say you already have your ticket on the side.
I see. So that's another benefit of putting all the customers in.
And most of our guys, if they don't know this one person, they might know one of the other three that's on the line, and on the area.
That is good. We have several alternates. Okay, good.
Ring, ring.
Oh,
You're on the other side now.
I'll come here, can I help you?
Okay, Ms. Gardner, what is your telephone number, please?
867-2174.
Repeat that number again, please.
867-2174.
I have that listed to the footwear.
That's right.
Okay. And what type of problem are you having?
Our extension is not good.
Your extension is what?
It cuts off.
Cuts off? And has this problem been happening lately for the
Just
past?
yesterday.
Just yesterday? Is that only on one line?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we appreciate you calling in. We'll have repairman check that out for you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I filled the trouble out as a 3, not completely out of service. And since it's a key system in the equipment, I put it in parentheses because we have to wait for the INR to tell us if it's in the bells or whatever it is, you know. He'll call us back and tell us what equipment needs to go in there. And I put down that it's a go-together number in comments, and I put the flag number at the top of the trouble ticket. Yeah, extension. No, she just said it was one extension, one of the lines that was cut off. So I didn't take down the extension number.
I don't know if this matters, but it was supposed to be one extension.
Oh, it was?
I mean, I don't know what the check was supposed to be, but it was an extension, one of them.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. Okay. Is that all?
Does anyone have any questions or something that you may have done different? Had you been receiving the report?
Got a previous report on that number. I remember
City blocks. City blocks.
Well, I didn't know, because according to, I don't know what that all, that doesn't, it looks like a route to me. I don't know what that is. Okay. Well, ordinarily, we have the route and terminal written in there, so.
They're having to struggle so hard to find something wrong with what you did. I'm in favor of giving you a big hand. I don't know what would be involved in, I know that it'd be a program, we'll check into it.
Another thing, out of service until 24 hours, like right now, that's what we have to explain to people, and try to keep up with the study group, whatever they want, 24 hours, so we do go less than 85%, we know which tickets to go right to. We could automatically get a printout, Little Rock would tell us which ticket we're maybe put in, and out of service for 24 hours. And just go to us automatically, so us paying to log them down or go to the study group. Some of them get messed up in their study group, too many on the time. Less than 85% people now that it's changed.
What you're talking about is out of service over 24 hours, just have the system to,
When it goes less than 85% service.
Got the same problem, ours, that's not.
that's why we're there in Little Rock is to help you, so,
That monthly report that you have to fill out, why we missed it, it's hard to come up, and they say,
Then we had
2 or 3 reports on it, it's hard to explain why.
We had that report, and then what tickets was missed, we brought them up in front of this, comments were in there. You can explain right there, or we can put the comments in there. You can just, a lot simpler than
how are you handling those now out of service over 24 hours? Any of you using a special study group maybe to keep up with those?
we're going in grade 3, so we're actually, when they go out over 24 hours, just like the service work, that we log it down, this, they're a little bit, a little bit much, and we have the comments, but on the study, on the real history, the real,
Yeah.
we're just going a little bit.
Let's team out would you come up here, please? Gloria Jolly. Ray Schuler. Marlon Jarrett. Marilyn Jarrett. Thelma Mason. And Dean Darby is the alternate for this team. He could, okay. One minute, if you and your team could sit together, I think you can throughout.
What do I do, just take my choice then?
What we're probably going to need to do is just start seating the first team over here. Those of you move out and let them have.
Well, stand up, you're gonna get up pretty big, with
He was surprised.
You were doing a stabbing here, going your legs that way, we're gonna get along just fine.
Yeah, I was making sure I wouldn't step on you.
Sharon Webb. Louis Willage. Gene Partridge. Julie Anderson. Jerry Greenhall. Biscuit.
Richie?
Yeah, let's move right out of the way.
Hey, Richie, mind your group?
Yeah, you are.
How can I get so lucky somewhere?
Jim Young.
What's over there?
We supposed to over there? Just sit over here. Right over there. Right not here. Nadine Dyer.
Gene Murphy.
Just a second. Just the same thing, okay?
Shirley Spencer. Shirley here. H.M. Taylor.
You're Judy. I'm Richard Sorrell.
Ted Russ.
Oh, good. Sharon. I'm Jerry. Barely.
Judy.
Derek Harper. Barry Harper.
Where were you from? Yeah.
Where's y'all's team stop?
So don't be getting close to it.
I won't do it. I start.
Knock over this tripod, then you'll be mad at me for the rest of the time I'm here, won't you?
Can you get there?
Set that one over there, would you? This. Gary. Ron's not here with us. It's empty. I was gonna sit here, but I'll sit here.
Norma Martin.
Get all my stuff out of your way.
Ernie Collins. Mary Baker. Patty Light.
I'm Jim Young.
Valerie Seal.
Jim Young. Dixon. Shirley, I've met Shirley. That's right.
I watched it pretty heavy. I fixed all weekend, just heard do small ones, got one keep this about half an hour. I better come back in about 7. Got in about 7.
Randy Carson. Karen Moore. Randy Newland. J.D. Shady. John Shady. Shady Shady. Shady got money. Cody Ashcraft.
We are.
I guess we're right. And then I didn't. They didn't. I went straight. Y'all.
Dorothy Wilson. Dorothy Wilson.
She won't be here.
She won't be here Friday. Correct.
Diane Hilbert.
Familiar? Hey. Yes, sir.
Hey, you know?
She'll be here tomorrow.
Diane Hilbert needs, Diane Hilbert needs some more encouragement. What's your job? Let me get you
We'll take her to lunch, she's good.
She's a retired clerk. Retired clerk. Is there anyone else that did not get a name badge? We'd like to use just a few more minutes this morning and have each one of you, starting over here, to stand up and introduce yourself to us and tell us where you work and what your job responsibilities are and your life. So we'll start over here. We'll just move right on around each table. Everyone
Frank Schuler from Falcon City, assignment and tester.
Okay. Bella Mason, Fort Ice, dispatcher.
Wanda Lloyd, Glenwood, supervisor.
Richie Sarles, Glenwood, supervisor.
Gene Hodge, photo, coordinator.
Sharon Webb, hold on, dispatcher.
Jim Young, Greenbrier, supervisor.
Jenny Murphy, Fort Ice, repair clerk. Nadine Dyer, tester clerk, Dixon.
H.M. Taylor, Glenwood, work coordinator.
Terry Greenhoff, Harrison, I do what George Trump tells me to do.
Julia Anderson, Dixon, repair clerk.
Bruce Whitledge, Churchville, Kentucky, tester.
Carol Jarrett Harrison, dispatcher.
Jean Jolly, Greenbrier, plain clerk. Karen Baker, Dixon, dispatcher. Patty Watts, Fort Ice, dispatcher.
Valerie Stevens, Little Rock, Park Pipers, customer service.
Ernest Allen, tester from Harrison.
Ted Russ from Hodo, supervisor.
Larry R. from Dixon, work coordinator.
Kenny Grover from Cal, repair clerk, dispatcher.
Barry Parker, Glenwood, tester.
Joyce Lindsay Harrison, repair clerk. Holly Fagan, Glenwood, repair clerk. Donnie Hilburn, Fort Ice, supervisor.
Linda Parker, Greenbrier, plain clerk.
I'm Gary Cunningham, Powell, Tennessee, I'm a supervisor.
Randy Costa, Shepherdsville, supervisor. John Standifer, Powell, supervisor.
Karen Moore, Harrison, repair clerk, and Ed firefighter. Mason Waters, Harrison, dispatcher. Jackie Elston, Hodo, repair clerk.
Brandon Vaughn, Missouri, supervisor. Kenny Cameron, Ross.
Sally Lane, Harrison, coordinator.
Lena B. Dixon, dispatcher, siren.
J.D. Shaddy, work coordinator, phone. Randy Newland, I work out of Greenbrier.
Lane White, photo, yes.
Jill Cross, dispatcher, Dixon.
Cody Ashburn, Cross, supervisor. Joel Woodley, Cross, collector.
Karen Davis, Powell, dispatcher.
Paul Goldsberg, public relations.
We have some more back out here.
Glenwood, customer service.
the right customer services.
Well, you are making operating standards.
I think most everybody knows me. I do what Catherine
On Action 20s, on 07s, we always put, in the class line, we put 09, 01. Sleep will not allow us, it will give us the stars. We don't put it, that's what we put 09, 01 in the class line, 14, 17.
We've been using zeros, so if we take the 0901, it'll take the 0706.
No, it wouldn't.
It won't take that? Just 09? Okay.
09.
We're going to talk a little about the requirement of entering transmission readings, but we'll get around that. We're going to tell you the way around that.
I think I sort of lucked out on this one because the trouble is that the line is showing, or the customer called in and said the line is down. When the ticket would come through to me, I would look at it and see that the line is down. I see the pair. I would go to my SLIC terminal, put pairs on either side of that, look at the telephone numbers, and attempt to call customers, one customer on each pair if it's four-party, and determine to see if they still have service. If they have service yet, they would tell me that most likely this one customer is out of service. I ran a test in order that one of the experienced testers may analyze it for me. And if I find that the customers on either pair are okay, that's fine. If I find that they are having trouble or I cannot get an answer, I would alert my report or my people that take troubles and tell them to watch out. You're going to be having more troubles on such and such cable and pair. If someone could call in, reassure them that we are aware of the problem and we are working on it as soon as possible. Then after that, with the line down, or if it's determined that it's cable problems, I would go directly to my coordinator and say, watch out, it's happened again. So if you would like to put the test ticket in, in my elementary education of this, it's flagged, and I know we have trouble. Into any more technical terminology, I would call on Jerry or Ernie. I appreciate Ernie so much. He walked me through some tests the other day. But if you have any questions on this, well, whenever I say that I see that I have trouble up on the non-loaded test, I have a flag, what's called a flag, and the flag to my eye is telling me that there is trouble. And as I explained, I would call on a more experienced tester. In our office, we have a very experienced tester that sits right back of me. Whenever it gets real technical, I turn around and say, help, James. But if there's any questions, and I'm sure an experienced tester could point out some things on this that would help everyone.
Thank you, Nadine. I thought her comments in the beginning were just outstanding. Now, some of you analyzers what would be your interpretation of these test results? What was the question? Run an automatic test on about 800 pair now. 800 connector numbers, but it's basically 800 pairs.
But if you want to occasionally compare, you have to sit there and maybe have to finish with this lender group and then have to look at it and try to understand what
Does anybody run just a connector? On yours, did you run the path or the connector?
Well, we have connector and pair crosser that prints out 5 pairs of starting to pull the pair and connect that on the side. So most of our offices, we have 3 offices, 2 offices, the same depth, different things. They start airplane. So we can start airplane, build a little file, all exchange. Certain pair count, we can run the PCL crosser, we have all display, what PCL crosser. Some boards are running that, like Bob Wilson and Texas. He's got lines, he's got power, he's got probably running that, he's running. That's not a lot.
Anything else about the test system? Yes, there are. Now, if you notice, this trouble ticket that you've been working with has a field for current to ground.
Well, I'm talking about in the slip.
Yes, okay, I was leading up to that. The first step was to get it on here, and I believe it was back in March of this year, we submitted a program change request to the data processing people. See, the format has got to be changed of the trouble ticket and the information that's stored in the database. Also, there will need to be provision for getting that current to ground field on the Slick One screen. And the priorities have been such for the data programmers that they have been unable to get to that for us yet. But eventually we will be able to record the current to ground readings right on in the database.
I think at this time I would call Mrs. Eggleston and ask her if she's still having trouble hearing. It's a lovely day outside. Possibly this is cleared. She's the only one on system 6 that's reporting trouble. Shall I call her? Who was Mrs. Eggleston? She's here.
Yeah, who reported trouble?
Maybe she'll answer if I
Who
got her
reported
number.
the trouble for Team A?
She did, I forgot what the trouble
It is a rainy day, and she is not hearing well. Trouble is mostly in the morning, and you said it's on local and long distance. This is reported the 17th. Tester says it tests okay. I would not dispatch. Can I make an appointment to send someone there first thing Monday morning?
I work every day. Takes it on.
Mrs. Eggleston, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Are you at home at this time?
Yes.
Will you be home in the morning after 8?
I can arrange for you home in the morning.
You lease your phone, and we are obligated to take care of you. Do you feel we should still send a repairman?
Yes.
8 o'clock in the morning. We'll put you down. Commitment made. Any questions? He's gonna come out and put a 20 on this, you know. 30 minutes, so it's up there.
Our dispatcher does, like, we don't have one call.
The tester said that he would be the one that does that.
Well, she'd already said she couldn't be, and it's okay, and you were just starting at that point, send somebody. She couldn't have heard, send somebody else, she could have walked.
Could you say if you're having any other problems, just give us a call? You know, like if this happens again, call us, give us a call.
That would be a good idea.
If she's
Would
agreeable.
you agree to that, Ms. Singleton?
I'll agree to that.
Thank you.
Jim, can you spend 4 minutes this down? I can't pass this opportunity up, please. Remember what we talked about yesterday morning was to know what you were going to do before you talk to the customer? We should have ascertained how we were going to answer the questions, or how we're going to put the questions to the customer. We obviously didn't know all the facts, because when the customer didn't answer one like we wanted to, we I didn't know what to say. It's a great opportunity to learn, because this happens every day of the week. Know what you're gonna say to the customer before you call them up. Know what your plan of action is gonna be. That way you can talk to them effectively, and they'll be, can you handle the situation, is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me, Marilyn.
That's fine. Here's our work coordinator.
On this one,
Was that if we do hold that ticket until 7 o'clock the next morning, that she feels like that it should be retested because it may be a morning fault condition.
I would dispatch.
Well, in my instance, what I would do, if a ticket comes through me with a receiver on the line, I run a count. If I can't have any success the first time, I hold the ticket, put it up in front of me about 30, 40, 50 minutes. I try it again, and I run it 2 or 3 times. If I don't succeed, then I pass it on.
Can you put that hour on and just forget it? Times out? Yeah, it times out. But you know, we do dispatch on these tickets, but we also spend a lot of time on these, and the time we get out there, it's clear. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, we spend it.
I agree with you.
It's very important that whoever dispatches the order gets all the information from the I discovery out there. That way, I mean, if they just put no access, and this just all pulls it up, you know, what's that tell us? You know, that's right there, we've got a lot of that hard. But I mean, we do put no access on
Well, that's true, you can put it, it should be back in customer action if it's not accessible. And of course, some of them you can't serve, they go back into a PSR, help order status.
All right. Okay, I had a trouble here on a Dick Standifer in 867, I guess that's Mount Ida Exchange, and said that the trouble was it couldn't be called and the bells didn't ring. And it come in at 14:15 on September the 17th, and they're not going to be home until after 3 p.m. And they ran it through remote test, and it didn't come up with any trouble on the line, but it was the third repeat report we've had on this customer. So I don't know what, being I'm not the work coordinator for here, I don't know what kind of trouble I found out there last time they was out there, if they had come clear or they just wasn't home. So I would make sure the customer was home before I dispatched a guy out there and make sure he got a transmission reading and whatever it took to clear the trouble. This third repeat report, I'd have them check it out with a fine-tooth comb because them's kind of people that usually go to the Public Service Commission after that. And I don't like talking to them. So that's the way I handle it. Any questions? Questions? Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to tell you what I do. I'm from Missouri, Dixon. I'm work coordinator up there. I take care of work coordinator for 5 workforces and 20 exchanges up there. I got 15 INR guys I keep busy all the time, and I know where 7 CO guys are at all the time too, in all the central offices. And my day starts out pretty much like guys up here before. Get my work ready for the next day in the afternoon. Scan through my service orders about 3 or 4 o'clock, put them up on the board,
and get all the first assignments ready. You know, it may be my turn for the 7 o'clock shift. You know, the next day if it is, I come in and put it in voice memo, and if it isn't, I have everything I want done for whoever comes in at 7 o'clock. We got a 7 to 4 shift, and we got a 9 to 6 shift up in Missouri. And whoever comes in at 9 o'clock on dispatch has to stay until the last man's in. It's mainly for safety reasons or overtime, whatever. Mainly for safety reasons, because we got guys out, you know, working till dark. They may be working on aerial wire, aerial cable. They're supposed to call in every hour, let us know where they're at. Been pretty busy up here in Missouri. About all summer we had a lot of overtime. This year we had a lot of summer storms and everything. I put in my share of overtime, so does everybody else. But it's a smooth running operation up there. It's a good place to work.
Don't you like to hear that?
No other questions? I'll let the next person take care of it.
Let's give it another.
In Courthouse, our signers do. When now, like, you know, if the serviceman tells us and they're busy, well, we'll make it. Or, you know, normally if they have some type of problem, cable problem or something like that, they call and ask for the assigner, you know, directly.
Next we have work coordinator with Team H, Jill Cross. You don't have a work coordinator?
You know, if you want them up there to dispatch, of course, you know, in a small office like that, smaller than that. Our dispatcher does the very same thing that, I mean, she does the work coordinating and dispatcher. She's got a ticket for getting tests and all these stations. She knows that she's going to send it to CO or she's going to send it out. And this is a priority, if it's out of service, that comes first.
You suggesting that she comes up again?
Our supervisor still has to get commitment to the dispatch.
Let me ask you, work coordinators, a question. We have some others here that will be coming up. I haven't heard anything concerning this thus far. The type of service order, the type of trouble.
There's no outages on your trouble per hour, usually, depending on what it is.
What about the person maybe that job is?
Makes a lot of difference. Makes a lot of difference.
Won't you come back up here in just a minute?
Okay, in Missouri, we do write plan orders, and we write quite a few of them. We have about 30 INR people that call in, but I've got my log form last October. They said start logging them now, because we just write them before, so then we start logging them. And there's no practice of any kind, so we logged them, sat down, sent the log by exchange back to the operations supervisor of all the plant orders written in each exchange. The thing we would do is anything that could be done in less than an hour, we would keep in the service center to dispatch back out as we had time. and that's all of them come through me, and I make the decision whether, if he doesn't say on there it's a rehab, we usually keep all rehabs. If it's a terminal rehab, we usually keep those two. If it's a bad cable paralytic frog, we go through assignments with that, and the assignment, lead assigner, he initials them as he has time. Terminals are down or whatever, gets them out fairly fast time. The only trouble we've had is that as each month went by since last October, our plant order log is growing and growing and growing. These bad pairs that we send out, when they get fixed, they're supposed to come back, I thought. But I've sent a lot of them out, and I see very few come back. And the second problem that we had was one supervisory location out of 5 in Missouri. Probably write more plant orders, or twice as many, as the other 23 guys in the state. It just so happens that that supervisory location has the lowest trouble index in the state. I don't know there might be some correlation there. But I've been on the phone to Mr. Sorrells in the last month, and to Jim Gerg, Jerry Greenhall, and they sent me some good information, and we're going to use an aging process starting sometimes in the next 30 to 60 days, and hopefully the log will decrease in size over the next year the way it's increased in size over the last year. And we ride them. Some of them gets completed, some of them we don't know where they're at right now. Question?
Randall, don't you have at the present time about 6 cable people in Zero, primarily Dixon, not the area?
Right.
That cable players.
Right. And we have a lot of problems. And the southern part of the state was, well, we started Dixon last September, and we had about 15,000 access lines, and we picked up about 11,000 more access lines April 1st, and it almost doubled our workload through the summer with the storms, everything going through the southern part of the state. And we have those people, even if they wrote plant orders, they probably wouldn't have time to work on them. Until now, we've got the extra cable repairmen from Tennessee and from everywhere. Contractors coming in just trying to help us get things cleaned up, because October 15th is when Russ Cox and 2 other testers from the PSC are going to be in Dixon, and they use a cable analyzer from the PSC in Missouri, and they use the results in the testimony of the rate cases, and they know how to use it. And they've seen our remote test, they're going to try to use it. And then if they don't believe the readings or any questions, then they'll go to the field and retest the pairs they feel need to be tested with their Model 77.
Any of the other supervisors like to have any comments?
Folks, I just wanted to come by for a moment this morning and thank you all very much for being here and staying with us. You've been a pleasure to serve. The staff has really enjoyed working with you, and from all of us, we just want you to know how much we appreciate having the chance to host this.
I don't do this all the time, so be easy. Okay, we have a trouble on Shirley Harris. The number is 501-867-3904. She can't dial out local, can't call out local and long distance. We have a commitment date of 6 o'clock. We need to get that by 6 tonight. Class of service is 4RR. Originating equipment 06B-18. Cable 1, pair 445. Route 12-61. No pole. Loop extender 32.
green recycler, that's what on there. It was tested on 9/18 at 9:45, and it was a receiver off the 3K tip ring. And the other parties online are Steve Sanderson, Lynn Snow, and Alice Tree.
Lana Bean.
If I was dispatching a ticket out, I'd say, Arthur, I have a trouble for you. Telephone number 501-867-2174. I'd say, one phone and one line cuts off. Extension number 27. I'd give them the name of the business. And the date it was reported. And I tell them it was a key system. And cable 2, pair 590. Ringer cycle 30. It's a go-together number. Telephone number 2891. Route 589. And I'd also give them the line finder. 1A-031. And it was not tested. Well, this is Route 589 plus 590 plus 500.
That's the fair cable deal. That's the way it is. It wasn't the terminal address.
You're right, it's in the terminal address, but
Okay.
it's pairs.
That would be all that I'd give them.
Thank you, Lana.
But when you get down to the pedestal and the route, it's reversed. See, and it's, you have pep stop and then you look back, and it's easier if you all systematically right or wrong.
Gary Parker, you got one ready to declare. Well, come on up here.
Got trouble ticket, telephone number 867-3904, cleared at today's date, time 1800, action 10, Time spent was half an hour. Employee 1511, usage 1, class item 0706, fault 15, cause 01. I need a half an hour to station CPE billing, put on the rehab list, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to rehab this one. And make sure you give me that hour overtime.
Hey, that's a pretty good one. Come up to the mic here and tell us how you're gonna.
Really new.
Well, don't feel bad.
Okay, first of all, we're on voice memo, so I can't tell him that he didn't give me a route in the terminal where the trouble was found, route pedestal. And I need a loop reading on that. So I guess I would call back into voice memo and tell him that I need the readings on that. Yeah. That's about it. On the CPE billing, I would initiate the billing for that and send it over to commercial. And I am not sure what to do on a rehab. I'm not a dispatcher. Make a plan order. I don't know how to make a plan order, don't even make a plan order.
Let's give her a hand. Is there anything that maybe some of you completion clerks would have done?
We have CPE, ordinarily, when I'm going to grant and give it to the service rep. And the reason behind giving that paper to the service rep is because a month later, when the customer receives a bill and there's a charge on there, the service rep has something to fall back on. You know, when the customer says, why is I got this charge on my bill, $15, whatever it may be, the service rep can pull that out of the file, I think they can file. And that protects us, you know, right there. It's a little bit of backup for us, the business office.
Do you memo anything on the customer record, perhaps in the remarks field, if there's CPE billing? Could that be the document that you could? If I understand what you were stating a while ago, the pole to pedestal terminal is reversed on the screen than what it is on printed ticket.
And when you
That
put
one.
it in, it's, you know, it's so much better if they would just fix the ticket like the screen. You know, it's, to me, it would. I don't know if anybody else is having a
That's a
problem.
new ticket that you're gonna have remade anyway for ringing around.
Right. This ticket used a lot of revision. Flag added, green ground rating added. This is a good one.
This has the current to ground on it.
Ours though.
If you spend the total, that means that we printed though. Here you are, and you'll get.
No, this is just a temporary ticket.
Folks were trained to have an egress terminal and you've got a slip terminal they can have access to anytime they have that problem. They go in SESP and they can see, you know, right there.
Because they know that after hours, for the operators to take the report. And they do not.
Have the completion information on this, completion clerk. How are you going to handle this? Can't do that. Cody, would you come up here where we can hear you?
Hello, is this Miss Blackburn?
Yes, it is.
Miss
Blackburn, this is Cody Ashcraft with the telephone company. I talked with you briefly the other day on your problem you were having with the telephone. Our repairman has been out and repaired our leased phone. Are you having any trouble with it?
Yes, ma'am. He came out and he had the phone, and it's fine. We haven't had any more problems, and I really apologize for the way I acted the other day. I know it was just terrible. I'm really sorry for the way I acted.
Well, I appreciate that, and I can understand that you were upset. You had had trouble for 6 months. I wanted to ask you the other day, had you reported this trouble?
Yeah, I had reported it. I said I reported it in the past 6 months.
Oh,
But
I knew
finally,
you-
after I had a big spell, I knew that, I'm really sorry I acted the way I did.
Okay, I'm glad that it is working okay now, but if you ever have any more problems, you report that to repair service. But if it's not fixed in a timely manner, and then by the commitment time that they have given you, would you call me personally?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one other report that I'd like to hear the completion information on. That's probably about all the time for. And that's the one where there was a PB.
867-2174 is the trouble ticket. Cleared it today, 9:30. Action 10, time spent 3/4. Employee number 1511. Usage 1. Class item 07, 07, 27, and 20. It's on your ticket.
No, I would have that information slip. I'm in the route terminal.
That'd be about Route 4 and 27.
I'll correct that in the slip records, and also I'll give that information to this side, also. Yeah, equipment, why it wasn't extension 27, or do I need to charge it to the Wi-Fi?
It was in the telephone set.
So extension 27?
Extension 27. Yeah. That man out of footwear is just this side of Manhattan for any of you coming that way. That's about pole 27 out there, I think, 25 or 27. We'll call it 27 since we're
Did you do
taking.
readings for me?
Sure did.
Okay.
What I get? Loop of 40, current to ground 58, losses of 1.5, 3, noise of 15, power influence 80. That's all I got.
Did you clear that today?
Yeah.
If you would come up now and tell us how you treated that ticket, be very important.
Well, when I filled the ticket out initially, I put in parentheses around the originating equipment so that it would flag the dispatcher, that it was a key system. And so that way, when he calls back in, we wouldn't automatically put the original line finder that is assigned for that particular number, because we want to make sure that it was, if it's a key system, it could be a lot of different things, That's how come I left that blank. So it was extension, so I put in extension 27 in the originating equipment, and I just covered it out as any other ticket. Any questions?
Yeah, what do you do when you get in places like that? When it happens to go in there and fix one bill, and they say, hey, I want you to look at this, and you end up going all over the bill in 2 hours. Fixing several different things in the front. That's the report committee, that you get out there, you won't be charged time, or you don't want to charge 2 hours, and one light bulb, and jump on to it, start this, extension to the same building.
Well, I'd say you need to call a supervisor, because, I mean, you know, to me, I dispatched him on this trouble. All I wanted him to do was repair that extension 27.
It
Well,
costs us more money to run him back out.
right, well, what I'm saying is, I'd say you need to notify your supervisor or whatever. You need to notify his supervisor to get approval to stay out there. Because if we had a heavy day, which we do have, a lot of times, we have a lot of out of services, a lot of service orders, that measure service orders, and we need to get those done, you know. And so, I would just say it'd be up to the supervisors.
Would you not consider yourself to have the authority?
Right, so that's what I'm saying, call the supervisor first. I would assume the I&R man would do that, if he was gonna spend a lot of time out there.
Would you not say that you had the authority to say, yeah, clear what you need to while you're out there? Because,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
instead of him having to.
But I mean, he was saying, it seemed like what he was saying was a major thing, that they had a lot of things, and he was gonna be out there a couple hours.
Into that, if you go to one big.
Said you just have to, your area, however you handle it, I don't.
In our
Yeah,
case,
you're asking her a supervisory question. And really putting her on the spot to try to answer. So I'm gonna take her off the hook until you talk to your supervisor.
What Lynn was asking about,
That's why it's so important in the originating equipment field, as she has said, to show where the trouble was actually found. Now, the purpose for that is that you have proper accounting for repeat reports on multi-line accounts. So if they was dispatched and they found the trouble that they was dispatched on at extension 27 or whatever, that should be entered in the originating equipment field.
So you'd need another ticket.
I'm not necessarily saying that while he was there. I'm not telling you what to do about management. But it's very important that on multi-line accounts, that you specify in the originating equipment field where the trouble was actually found within a 30-day period. It'll not count as a repeat report against you.
Yeah, because time's gonna be divided up, like he had sometimes connections or sometimes something else.
Well, that one ticket only had one.
Like that per man, per month, you should be looking at a monthly average.
Week or weekly,
Yeah,
day.
if you're looking weekly, yeah, it might affect that a little more so.
On the E-system repairman, Karen Martin, I can see that.
Yeah.
On a combination plan, it probably wouldn't affect it that much. Very seldom, we do it that way.
And two, where, I don't know if you all have this too, when you're coding out, I would give you 2 sets of codes. I mean, you know, and so I always usually write underneath class item law, but I don't really know how to handle that either. What do you do in a situation like that? Do you make another ticket, or?
Also, we don't know which codes to enter when we're entering the ticket.
I mean,
Sometimes there's just a double set of codes on there, and I usually enter the codes that are in the box, you know, in the blanks.
They give you 2 sets of class item. Appreciate it. Well, let's take our lunch break and come back as near to 1 as
For me to, or for to bring into focus to me, what an outstanding group of people we have in the service center. I think this region ought to be extremely proud of the people that we have. I see so much talent in this room. I see so much ability. Sure, we've got to do a little more smoothing out the rough edges. We've got to develop a few more systems. We've got to do a little more training. But boy, have I been impressed. I was backed into the corner and asked, well, out of the service center operations, who do you have the special fondness for in your heart? Well, it's like your favorite child or your favorite horse or your favorite dog. There's so many of them that it's kind of hard to single out. But I suppose if you really backed me in the corner and said, now look, you've got to pick out one. Now you just can't go around loving them all. You've got to pick out one. I'd probably single out the repair clerks. Now why would I pick on the repair clerks? Well, they are our first line of defense. You repair clerks, you have a special spot in my heart. Doesn't mean I don't love you, testers, and assignment people, and assignment clerks, and dispatchers, and work coordinators.